Good morning, everyone. I hope that you are all well. Lovely to see you. Good morning, Peter, Michael, Estelle. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Richard. Lovely to see you all. Yes, I've made it despite a puncture. I have made it to my desk. What a morning of drama in the Hackenbrock household. Anyways, we'll sort out the puncture after. Today's learning is dedicated in memory of Avram ben Moshe Levi Levi, Rachel bas David Corby, Irene bas Gertrude Semmel, and Shlomo ben Yosef Gilby. We wish all their respective families long life on their yahrzeits. So, they speak about manna from heaven. Well, it's something that was absolutely true and something that wasn't a figment of our imagination. So the question is, when did the manna start and when did it stop? And I want to share with you a highly fascinating and enigmatic idea that I think will change your perspective towards our daily lives. Good morning, Rachel and David. I don't think I said good morning to you, and Carol. I think I've said good morning to everyone else. So the idea is as follows. We already mentioned previously the Jews left Egypt. Our ancestors, your great, 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 Bubba and Zeta left the Haim. They left Egypt and they traveled with their pekeluch, with their bags, with their stuff, and they took with them the matzahs and everything else. Anyways, that was on the 15th of Nisan, Pesach, right? Month later, and the food's run out. So of course, what happens when things start to go sour? You turn to your leader, you turn to the rabbi. Okay, familiar story, and they start complaining. We would have been better had we been back in Egypt, right? We remember Zachrenu, Ledagim, we remember the great fish that we ate in Egypt, right? And therefore they demanded of Moshe to do something about it, improve the situation. And then Moshe beseeched Hashem, and manna fell. Okay, manna fell, and every day they woke up and found on their doorsteps, as it were, manna, this special spiritual food that satiated their every need. It tasted like whatever they wanted it to. So Michael, if you want it to taste like biltong, it tastes like biltong. Richard, if you want it to taste like sushi, it will taste like sushi. Whatever you want, it will taste the way you want it to. Says the Chofetz Chaim, an interesting idea. What happened if you didn't think before you ate the food about what it should taste like? What would it taste like then? Okay, in other words, if I thought about burgers before I ate the food, then it would taste of burgers. What happens if I didn't think of anything? What would it taste of? Said the Chofetz Chaim, a beautiful idea. If you don't think about life, then life tastes of nothing. Friends, what an incredible, startling idea. It's not just the manner, it's life itself. If we don't think about it as we go through life, then it becomes tasteless. It becomes without significance, without meaning. We can go through day after day, living on the treadmill of life and never really being satisfied, never really having any gratification, any pleasure in anything in life, because it is just a treadmill. It is just a real grind, a daily grind. Let's fast forward. So Jewish people every day had to gather the manna. What happened on Shabbat? So they were told to gather a double portion of manna on Friday that came down. There was dew on top of it. And then on Shabbat, they didn't have to go out. That's why we have two chalot. That's why we cover the chalot, because there was two portions, and because it was covered with a layer of dew, that's why we cover our chalot. And therefore, they had the food that they had. What happened if somebody decided, you know what, I'm a bit worried about what's going to be tomorrow. And therefore, instead of gathering one portion, they gathered two portions. Well, our rabbis tell us that if they tried to keep more than they needed, it would actually turn putrid. It would become full of worms. It would decompose. And therefore, the Almighty was sending an important message both for them and for us. that I will always provide for you. Now, it may not be exactly what you feel you need, but I know better than you know because I created you what you need, and I will ensure that you get what you need for today. God never promised us that he's going to ensure that we have provisions for the next 120 years in our bank account. That's not the deal. The deal is that God is Hamazan Mafarnes Esakol, as we say in Grace After Meals. God satiates and supports our every need that we have right now. And sometimes, of course, there is a discrepancy between what we need or what we think we need and what we actually need. And therefore we're not always happy with what we have, because we're always convinced that what we have isn't actually what we need. And things that start off as wants can often become needs, right? Starts off as a want, a new car, a new this, a new that. And advertising, right? The advertising industry is built about convincing us that we are lacking, that we are unhappy, that we're not satisfied, that we're missing something in life. Because otherwise you're not going to go and buy something because you were happy 2 minutes ago. But they convince us through their advertising, so and you know, the persuasive advertising, that actually you need to upgrade, you need that one more thing, you need to invest, you need to buy, you need to purchase, you need to have this, the must-haves. And it's an important lesson for us that what we have is in fact what we actually need, nothing more and nothing less. So the question is, when did the manna start? When did it finish? Well, we said already, friends, the manna started a month after they left Egypt, so that was the 15th of Iyar, and it lasted for the entire time that the Jews were in the wilderness until they were satiated in this way with that and quails, all the way through until they entered into the land of Israel. And then, of course, at the time of Joshua, then it became a matter of living a more earthly, mundane existence. That's on the surface. But as I said to you, there's a twist. Many years later, at the time of Jeremiah, sorry, I should point out that that Moses was told to take some of the manna, place it in a flask, and place it eventually, after the giving of the Torah, in the ark. And it was kept there as a commemoration, as a remembrance of the fact that God provided manna in the desert. Generations later, the time of Jeremiah, he lived at the time of the destruction of the first temple, and the people were complaining at the time of Jeremiah, and they said, you know, we don't have everything that we need. We don't have food. We don't have what we need. You know, we don't have everything that we want. Jeremiah went to the holy ark whilst the temple stood, and he took out this flask of manna, the commemoration that Moshe had placed in the ark, and he showed it to the people. He says, "See, look, there's manna." And the question is obvious: what did Jeremiah? We're talking about over 1,000 years later. What did Jeremiah hope to achieve by showing the people a relic from the past? After all, the obvious answer to the people, the rejoinder would be to Jeremiah, is that was history. That was history. That's part of our past, our heritage. But what relevance does that have today? Now, Jeremiah. And the answer and the message that Jeremiah, the great prophet, wanted to imbue and infuse in our people is that there is manna in every single generation. It may not be in the same guise, in the same way that it was delivered at the time of the Jews of the wilderness. Nonetheless, every day we believe that the Almighty is providing and sustaining the whole world's needs. And we are blessed that we do have, if we look around, everything that we want, that we truly need. Whatever we need in the service of God, we've got. We're blessed. And sometimes we don't realize how blessed we are. You know, the whole eco movement that I've actually been discussing and having meetings about, it's fascinating. There is such a truism in an aspect that they say. The wastage in our society in the 1980s, there were the butter mountains of Europe. There's piles and piles of food that is piled up and is not distributed and doesn't enter into the general markets, and that is to protect and safeguard the farmers so that prices don't fall. And therefore we are living in an era of tremendous bounty, of tremendous blessing, of manna that we have all around us. We're blessed. We live in beautiful homes. We have wonderful foods. Perhaps we have too much of a good thing, but we should recognize the blessings that we have in our lives and the fact that ultimately God is the one that is sustaining us. It may be that it's a slightly different guise. It's not manna that falls into our back garden. It may be that it comes that we get it delivered. Sometimes it feels like manna when the Amazon Fresh arrives on the front door. But the idea is exactly the same, friends. That the Almighty is providing for us. We do our bit, we do our work, but ultimately we are biyado afkid ruchi. We are in the Almighty's hands. And please God, we should recognize that, count our blessings, and make our blessings count. We continue now with Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even as I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for length of days. Memorial prayer. Adon Olamim Zacho Es Nishmois. Abram ben Moshe Levi Levi, Racha bas David Corby, Irene bas Gertrude Semmel, Shlomo ben Yosef Gilby Shalchu li Olamam, Anna Balarachamim Dasrim Seitek Anafech li Olamim, Vetis Osachai Mishmasam, Yanucha Mishkavatam B'Shalom V'Namar, Amen. For Shlema prayer. Misha Berach Avasenu Avram Yisrael Yaakov Yivarech. Eskala Cholim, Babo Shanim Ispalim Babo Ramas Chazakadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachim Aleihem, Lachem Elafosam Yishlachem Refuah Shleim and Shemaim Elachol Rebem Besos Shach Yisrael, Refuah Sanefesh Kusakov, Hashraglas Makarif Anoma, Amen. Wishing everyone well, look after yourselves, keep safe, keep well, keep growing, keep going, and please God, we'll see you for another edition tomorrow. All the very best, have a great